Alright, welcome back everybody to this lesson, and here I'm going to be teaching you a couple more scales and introducing you to key signatures. Now, key signatures is very important because this is going to come up time and time again when you're learning new songs, when you're improvising, when you're reading music, when you're playing with other people, with scales, with just being confident and relaxing on the piano. Key signatures is a huge part of that because it's one of these foundational concepts that when you get good at it, I promise you, there's a 50% jump in how easy it is to understand the piano, and then the second half of that comes from the actual technique that you're using. So when you employ the theory and the technique together, you get to where you want to go. Now, before I start explaining what key signatures are, I want to say and acknowledge that yes, scales and these basic foundational exercises and concepts may seem tedious to some people, and you can trust the process I'm using because everything is designed with your progress in mind, especially with the enjoyment of the journey. And this is coming from somebody who had a 10+ year journey and is still on that journey. So I know what the annoying parts are, I know what the amazing parts are, I know what's exciting, I know what's tedious. I can understand where you're coming from if you do feel like these things are a bit of a pain to practice. You really do just have to think about this as sharpening the axe. So a key signature is referring to the sharps or flats that you're playing in a certain scale. Remember that it's not just black notes that can be sharps or flats. White notes occasionally can also be sharps or flats. An F could be an E sharp, a B could be a C flat. It is very rare that you find this, but it is something that you should be aware of. So let's take C major. You can see that we do not have a key signature. We're not playing any sharps, we're not playing any flats. And in fact, C major and one other scale are the only scales in music that don't have any sharps or flats. That one other scale is A minor, which is played like this. So really, if you can play C major comfortably, you're in a very good position to play A minor because it's literally the exact same scale, but you're starting and ending on a different place. No black notes. Every other scale, however, follows a particular rule, which I'm definitely not going to go into much detail in this lesson, but I'm just going to introduce you to this. All scales are either sharp scales or flat scales. What I mean by that is that when you look at the key signature of these scales, there won't be some sharps and some flats. They're either all sharps or all flats. So with C major and A minor, there is no key signature. But let's say with C minor, which I did briefly show you, but I don't expect you to be able to play instantly. I've got this one, and that one. Now, for C minor, we call this an E flat. This will be an A flat, and this will be a B flat. The key part here is that you're not calling it a D sharp. You're not calling this a G sharp, and you're not calling this an A sharp. Because C minor falls into the flats category. And anytime you have a scale in the flats category, you never call the key signature by its opposite name. Let's say D major. The key signature for D major is F sharp and C sharp, meaning anytime you would normally play an F or C, we're making those sharps. You're replacing them. You're not adding them to the scale, because remember, a scale can only be 8 notes. So this is what it's going to sound like. I go from D, and you can see how I'm playing these two sharps. Now, again, I am not calling this G flat or D flat. This is F sharp and C sharp because D major falls into the category of sharp scales. The reason it's so important for you to understand this is because there are scales which have very similar black notes. And if you call them by the opposite name, you could be confusing it for a different scale, or the scale that you're playing is just straight up wrong, When you're talking to other musicians who are familiar with scales, you might not understand what they mean, or they don't understand what you mean. So you can see it can cause a lot of confusion. So just be aware that you're calling the sharps or flats by the correct name, not the opposite one. This is much easier to follow when we start reading music soon, but just for now, it's important that that's clear. Okay, so let's say that you are learning a new scale. Let's say that we did G major. So G major, obviously we're going to start on G and end on G. But you need to know two things: the key signature and the pattern you're using. The pattern you use, which is what fingerings you're using. So right hand, as we saw last lesson, is always going to be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No matter the scale, it's always 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But there are one or two exceptions. But just for the most part, think about it like that. And the left hand is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. So like I said, the pattern does not really change, but the key signature does change from scale to scale. And it can change quite vastly. At the stage that you're at right now, you're not going to be able to just calculate or figure out the key signature of any scale until I teach that to you in the circle of fifths. So for now, I'm just going to tell you the key signature, and you're just going to practice the scale with the right notes. So let's move right into it. We're going to fly through a couple scales. I'm going to introduce them to you. I'm going to give you a bit of time to practice that, and then at the end I'll show you everything we did and how to do it, and that will be your task. So the first thing we're going to do is G major, and the key signature for G is F sharp. So we're going to play 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice that I'm not adding the sharp to the scale, I'm replacing it from the natural version. So this is what some people do. Like, obviously that sounds wrong, and it is wrong. A, because you're adding the sharp instead of replacing it, and B, because now you're transgressing the 8-note scale. Remember that one of the rules of scales is that they always have 8 notes. So by adding that extra note, you now have 9, and you shouldn't have that in a scale. So just remember that key signatures replace the natural versions of their notes. One quick tip that will make it easier for you to practice is to say aloud the letter that you're playing. And just pay attention that you're not playing F, it's F sharp. So example, G, A, B, C, D, E. I know what's coming next is F in the alphabet, but because this is G major and the key signature is F sharp, I'm not playing F, I'm playing F sharp. And then I can come back down. Notice the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 3, 2, 1. So pause the video now and just have a go at that a couple times on your own until you can just get the gist of what notes you're playing and how you're doing it. Remember just to relax your shoulder, elbow, and wrist, and to go slowly, okay? You do not have to go that fast. In fact, you don't have to go at any particular speed. The only thing that matters is that you are at the steady pace and that you're hitting the right notes. So go so slowly that it is impossible for you to get a note wrong, even this slowly. It really does not matter because you're going to be making it gradually faster over time anyway. So really, just start slow and go at a steady pace. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so we're going to play this together so that you can get used to this process. I'm going to be counting the finger numbers, not the beat, right? So I'm not counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I'm not counting the beat, I'm counting the finger number. Okay, so get ready, get into position. I'm going to say and then we come in. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Now, once your right hand is comfortable, and by no means does it have to be perfect at this stage, I'm just introducing you to the scale so you can get a gist of how to play it. Once you've done that, you're going to do the exact same thing on your left hand. Okay, so you're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, when you're playing right hand or left hand, just make a mental note of what finger is playing the sharp or flat. So, with G major on the right hand, it's going to be 4 on the right hand. And that will be one of your checkpoints. For the left hand, it's going to be your number 2. So, right there. So to recap your process as we move through each scale, you're going to identify the key signature. Make sure you're replacing the natural versions, not adding to them. Okay, so you only have 8 notes total. You play the right fingerings slowly until you can comfortably play the scale at a steady pace. Okay, go as slow as you need to. And then step 3 is to play the left hand once you're done with the right hand. So we're doing that process for each scale. Okay, that's G major. Now the next one we're doing, D major. The key signature for D major is F sharp and C sharp. Again, you don't have to commit this to memory right now, but it is obviously very helpful if you do. I know that anytime I would normally play F or C, I'm making those sharps. So I'm playing the right pattern because I'm on the right hand. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. I'm making that mental note. Okay, what finger am I playing these sharps on? On the 3, okay. On the 4, same. Okay, your ascending scale and your descending scale should look exactly the same in terms of fingering. Your left hand, that's what that looks like. Now, it's very natural for your left hand to be weaker than your right. That's because most of us are right-handed. So your left hand might take a bit more time than your right hand, but just give them both equal patience and try not to rush through things. Because a great quote by an incredible pianist goes by, so somebody asked him, how do you play every single note correctly? And he answered with, because I only practiced the right notes. Now, it sounds obviously like, okay, yeah, sure, it's obvious that just don't mess up. As I'm telling you, go so slowly that you can't make a mistake. And if you do make a mistake, of course, that's fine. Don't, hold it against yourself. Set yourself up for success, that you can play it easier. Don't just try and go on the first try, on the right hand or left hand. Okay, so pause the video now and have a go at playing D major until you can do it with some comfort. It doesn't have to be perfect right now, just so you can get the gist of it. Now, the last scale we're doing together is A major. Notice that these are all major scales so far. And the key signature to A major is F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. So, these are the sharps we're playing. Again, don't call them flats. If I play A to A, replacing the natural versions of those keys with the sharps, this is what I get. I'm using the same pattern of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm making that mental note of what finger I'm playing these sharps with. 3, 3, 4, 4, 3, 3. So again, you're not changing any of the fingering when you're going up versus down. The exact same thing, just the other way. Left hand. Now, I do not by any means expect you to be able to play A major at that standard right away. In fact, that's the level which I would ask you to aim for, but take it slow. So you can go. And then back down. Now see there, I'm keeping that steady pace. It's very, very important. Pace, this pulse, this beat that you're playing to. It's so important that you are able to stick to it as a musician. So if you can play all the notes correctly at a good pace while still, relaxing your shoulder, relaxing your elbow and your wrist with good form, that is more than a pass and you're doing great. Because naturally, even unconsciously, you're going to be playing these things faster now that you have the mind-muscle connection. Your fingers are improving. I want to give you a couple tips that's going to help, because now that I'm giving you a couple more things to practice, it is easier to feel frustrated when you're making mistakes. It's easier to just say, no, I can't do this, I quit, that's it. It is easy to say those things. And everybody is going to have these thoughts at some point, no matter what you're doing. Scales, pieces, anything, like not even just music, any other thing. You're gonna sometimes experience that thought from time to time. The thing is that you want to set yourself up in a way that you're not experiencing that all the time. Because if you just off the bat just start playing with two hands really fast, and you expect yourself to actually play it properly, of course it's not gonna work. So take it step by step. Go right hand first. Go very slowly. Even at the beginning, you don't have to go to any beat. At the beginning, just focus on getting the right notes. Focus on playing it with the right finger. Go so slowly. Truly. Take your time with this. And before you know it, you're playing something like, two-handed A major scale, one octave up and down, really smoothly, to a pace. It's all great. You have no idea how much that's going to help you in literally everything that's coming down the line. For me, who knows everything that you're going to be learning, everything that you're going to even want to learn, the things that you don't even know are options, trust me when I say that if you just spend a little time getting good at these things I'm giving you, it's going to help you out so much in the long run. So that's your task, to play all of these new scales along with your C major for both hands separately. So to quickly run through them all with you, this is what they all sound like with their key signature. So, C major, no key signature. Go slow as you want, as long as you're consistent with a good pace. G major, key signature of F sharp. Remember, when you're playing, try not to lift your fingers up in the air too much. Like that. Keep it relaxed. So G major has 1 sharp. D major has F sharp and C sharp, so 2 sharps. Now, 3 sharps, A major, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. You don't have to play it at this octave, you can go up here. Doesn't matter. Give your left hand equal amounts of time as well. Because you want your left hand to be developing with your right hand. Just like if you go to a gym and say you want to work on your arms, but if you don't work on your legs, it's going to be disproportionate. So that's your task, and only move on to the next lesson once you are comfortable doing those. Your extension task, if you really want a challenge, is to do one of these scales 2 hands at a time. Start with the easier one of G major and go very, very slowly. Because you have to get used to the different patterns that you're using. Only do this if you are very confident with the previous task though. Don't just jump to this. Okay, great job this lesson, and I'll see you soon.